Our last speaker of the evening is someone who's familiar to many of you. Naomi Shihab graduated from high school and Trinity University, both here in San Antonio. She and her family have lived downtown for 40 years. A writer, editor, and educator currently on faculty at Texas State University. She has put together more than 35 books and worked in 1,000 or more classrooms. Her most recent book is Voices in the Air, Poems for Listeners, published by Green Willow Books, HarperCollins. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Naomi Shihab.
Wow, such great presentations tonight. Thank you all for coming, beautiful San Antonio. And thank you, Vicky, for inviting us to do this. It's amazing to work with you. I'm very inspired, and my presentation is called The Holy Land of Human Beings. When I was 2, Emily Dickinson came into my bedroom. My mom read some of her poems to me. Her words floated. By 2nd grade, I considered Emily a personal friend. I'm nobody. Who are you? Are you nobody too? But it would be years later that I learned Emily's hair color. Did you know? She was a redhead. Takes you a while sometimes to find out about your friends. Childhood, triumph of imagination. At 5, our son wanted to be a car muffler for Halloween. His dad, my husband Michael, and I constructed this costume. Smoke came out the top. He won the Honolulu Public Schools costume contest. Every human being comes from so many somewheres. Till I was 14 and we moved to the Holy Land, my Palestinian father's stories and this one photo of his parents were my map. Holy Land, where everyone was fighting. No, not everyone. And the bravery of my parents, human beings attracted to someone refreshingly different from themselves, neither one practicing the religion they were raised in, respecting all paths, both with open minds. Hallelujah. The wealth of childhood for me was reading. Worlds grew instantly bigger. I argued with Margaret Wise Brown. I thought everything was important. Favorite poems, miraculously, this book is still in print, introduced me to hundreds of voices that felt like friends. In this 7-year-old head, no teeth, already lived the splendid voices of Langston Hughes, Carl Sandburg, Robert Louis Stevenson, Christina Rossetti, Rabindranath Tagore, voices I love to this day. Human voices, Ferguson, Missouri, 2nd grade. We ride on the shoulders of people we love forever. If human beings insulted my father or his people, he'd say, "My friend, I think you need a little more information." How lucky is it to meet your lifetime partner on Houston Street in a long-gone lunch rush at Quinny's Just Good Food? Thank you, friend Sue, who introduced us, and thanks, good intuition. Ties that bind are strongest. Mysteries of human connection. 100 years age difference between my grandma, 105 in this photo, and our son. They did not share a language, but laughed and played for many days. Working with kids and poetry, a life I stumbled into. More good luck thanks to the fabulous Robert Flynn, who is here tonight. My teacher who first told me a vagabond literary life could exist. Here in Abu Dhabi on International Day, not a single place did I ever travel or work where poetry did not exist. Even the beautiful kids of Gaza were hopeful and upbeat about possible human connection. In the world's largest open-air prison, they didn't complain, but let's take a picture together. Thank you, Google Chat. My favorite poet, William Stafford, has been with me since age 16. He died more than 20 years ago, but still asks every day, starting here, what do you want to remember? Are you waiting for time to show you some better thoughts? Peter Matheson, great American writer, loved San Antonio. Michael and I loved him so much. This was the only place he ever saw his precious 7 species of eagles in a single day, Mitchell Lake Preserve. He'd say, let's go eat Mexican food. Speaking of Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, I'd meet his great-great-great-granddaughter at El Mirador. Be given an early edition of his poems, one of the only poets in my German grandfather's library. I read him out loud as a child, between the daylight and the dark. And what about all the great human beings we don't hear of until they die? Never too late to find out more. Grace Lee Boggs, human rights advocate for 7 decades, died at 100. I mentioned her in a talk, and a woman came up after. Hi, I was her editor. I'll send you her biography. Don't miss Grace Lee Boggs. Children were always more prepared than I was. How did we go to college without the internet? Computers would become the purring animals at the hearts of our homes. And delusion would help us too. We're human beings, after all. We're full of flaws. I think of myself as a minimalist. Ted Flato, help me. This is my workspace. Kids sometimes ask, what's your best moment as a writer? Seeing your book in print? Nope. Scribbling day to day? Sometimes. Receiving an image like this from a mom I do not know of her daughter who would not come to dinner because she was reading my book takes the prize. Our grandson, age 2, was recently found kissing the windows on our back sun porch. Lip prints across glass. What are you doing? Kissing the windows. Why? He pointed to my husband's photography studio in the backyard. Because Michael is out there. Hey people, everyone is out there. Thank you. Thank you. So beautiful. Oh, thank you, Troy. Thank you. Thank you so much, Troy. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Like 20 poems for the price of admission. Can you tell us a little more about William Stafford? What drew you to him? What brought you back again and again? Why is he your favorite?
When I read the first 3 poems of his that were in the English textbook at now renamed Robert E. Lee High School here, I felt I could see through the wall. I felt there was something in his way of looking at the world which included everyone, which included memory, which included all of the people we hadn't met yet. And I just felt, this is a voice I want to follow. And I went to the school library and they had 3 of his books and I felt so lucky. But I'd like to say to you that I think a youth orchestra also gave me a lot as a kid growing up, because I played second chair violin and it was a real important thing to me. It helped me feel confident as part of a group of musicians, as well as writers feel part of a family of voices. So thank you for all you do.
Wow, well, thank you. So poetry, I'm not the only person in the room I know who will, if we're honest, would say, I don't read as much poetry as 22-year-old me would have thought I would.
Yeah.
There was a time in my life when I had to read poetry, and I fell in love with it.
Right.
And now I read less, the stuff in the New Yorker. And
But I'll bet you think it. I felt every single presentation tonight was poetry. And our good conversations with our friends are poetry. And a city like San Antonio, a space like this, is poetry. So I really feel that we're all living in a poem all the time.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
We can't do better than that. Naomi, Shihab, Nye.